out there. I am your host. That's right, Jessica Koch. We are back with another Profound Professionals. It's the interview series that has been running, can you believe it, 8 years now. We feature industry experts from all over the world, and they help improve your personal life and can help grow your business. Kathi can actually do both. She was announced and pronounced and deemed thus and given the crown by Good Morning America as a very successful woman startup business. And since then, she has had her advice featured in the Oprah Magazine. I'm loving this. The Martha Stewart Living, Better Homes and Gardens, because she does make your home better, and Entrepreneurs Magazine, and so many more things. She is amazing and wonderful, and we're going to explore all things Kathi today as we go through our show. So welcome, Kathi Burns.
Oh, it's nice to be here. I'm so excited to talk and chat and get to know everybody out there and get to know you a little bit further.
What I didn't tell them is your main skill set is and started with organization, right? So give us some of the journey. Did you just come out of the womb an organized person, never lost your baby socks, all those things?
No, I'm a little bit ADD. So I've had 7 careers, and one of my careers, I was a licensed U.S. Coast Guard captain, where I delivered yachts because I wanted to get paid to sail. So basically, I got my license and I delivered boats. And during that time, I lived out of a duffel bag. And when you're out to sea, you need what you need, and you need to know where it is, and you need to grab it quick. So I did that for a while. And when I came to shore, I became a travel writer. And at that point, then I was living out of a suitcase 42 weeks a year. And you have to have what you need when you need it, less so than out to sea. But I remember one night when I was out to sea, I was thinking about everything that was back on land and realizing that not that much meant anything to me. I was thinking about my apartment going, nothing's really relevant. I mean, maybe one thing. So I'd get home, get back to shore, and I'd purge. And the same thing happened being on the road as a writer. I came back and I'd purge because I realized I could live on basically not that much, a duffel bag or a suitcase. So flash forward a few years, I was reinventing myself again for the 7th time. And I met a woman. I had taken some time off just to kind of figure out, what does Kathi want to do? I met a woman and she was on a healing journey. And I went to her house one night and she was just packed in with stuff. And I'm like, you're never going to heal being packed in like this. And so I started helping her clear, and we cleared, and I was good at it. And she said, you know what? I have a girlfriend who hires a professional organizer to do this. And I'm like, what's a professional organizer? This 20 years ago. And flash forward, now this is what I do. Basically, I just help people release the stuff that's holding them back from living their full potential or living their full life.
Yeah, it does make a really big difference. And I think I've struggled. So we have 7 kids and 8 grandkids, and I've always been very sentimental. And so, the little outfits they wore as babies, very difficult to let go of, and pieces I've received from different grandmothers who now are passed and gone. And so I'm on both ends of the spectrum, so things for my children, and now I'm losing people that I love. And everyone says, oh, well, take a photo of it. The photo is not the same. When I carry into an event the shimmery gold clutch that was my grandmother's, I feel connected to her, and I feel something different when I actually have the physical thing. So I have a lot of physical things, and I like books. I know I can get them at the library. I know I could read them on a Kindle. I know I could all these other things, but it's a challenge for me. So how do you deal with people like me?
Well, so I love the grandmother's clutch idea, because you love it, you use it, it makes you feel really good. So, you have one of Clutter's best friends, well, actually 2. So Clutter has 4 best friends: death, disease, divorce, and dependence. You have dependence and you have death, right? And you might have others, but those are two main ones. I always say if you have 3 or more, you definitely need some help, with a pro. But here's what you have to do is you need to think about the tense that you're thinking in or speaking in when you pick up an item. So you pick up something and you're like, I used to love that. Wasn't that great when Johnny wore that jumper? right? You're talking in past tense. Or you say, oh, I just love this. I'm going to give this to my new grandbaby. Present. Or someone might need it. Someone, maybe Sarah, who's 12, might want that for her grandkid in 50 years. So you're talking in future tense. So the idea is to have everything in your life that suits you right now, right? Be here now kind of thing. And if you find yourself talking in past tense or future tense, it probably isn't serving you right now, but your grandmother's clutch totally is, right? And when I work with people, it's, they don't have to get rid of whatever they don't want to get rid of, but we have conversations around, is it serving you, or is it kind of, are you in fear, right? Are you in fear of the future? You might need it someday. One of my colleagues wrote that book. Or that used to be great. You're living in the past and you're not really being fully where you are right now. So, that's one way to think about it. And you have to realize, because I work with grandparents, parents, kids, grandkids, I know how this works. If you're saving your stuff thinking that your kids are going to want it, ask them now if they are going to want it. And you'll usually have one holder honor and everybody else will be a let her goer. So you have one person that it will mean a lot to them in your family, one of your children. They're like, oh, I love that. And they'll use it, right? And the other people are like, why did mom save that? I mean, I hear that all the time. It's like, what was mom thinking?
Well, and some of my kids are in denial because I've had that conversation with a couple of them. And then, so for example, I saved a lot of my adult daughter's Barbie stuff. And I have a 13-year-old now, and the next youngest is like 27 or 28. So there's a big gap between kids. And when I pulled all that stuff out for their 13-year-old sister to play with it when she was much littler, they were like, oh, that's all our stuff, and then of course the one daughter who wanted most of it and who gleamed it out and took it for her daughter who's 8 now, and she took a lot of the pieces, is always the one saying, you should just get rid of everything, mom. You should get, and then she was like, why didn't you save this? And why did you get rid of that? And I wish we still had this. And she's seeking it on eBay, the vintage Barbies and things she had that I didn't save, right? And so they're in denial. Okay, I can ask them, and they say, I'll get rid of everything. We don't want anything. But then
yeah, it's hard, especially with that many people. I always say, give them a deadline, put it out there, say, this is yours to, yours for free. Come get it by such and such a date. If you don't, Kathy's going to come and take it to charity. Right? Blame it on the organizer. I'm always a really easy scapegoat. My organizer said it's going to charity on such and such a date. And that is fire. Because if they think mom's going to hold on to it forever, they aren't going to do anything. They're not going to do a thing. They're going to leave it all on you, mama.
Yeah, I think other things, though, that I would want or would think I would need someday, I'm easily able to let go. Things mean less and less to me. It's the things that were the children's and were someone I've lost that are the hardest for me to let go of. So you don't just you're so much more than a professional organizer. So give us a little more about how you're serving the world and the community.
Well, it's interesting. I've had so many careers, and what I love is that all of my careers are kind of going into this one bucket as being a professional organizer and an image consultant. So I'm really concerned about the external environment of my clients. That's my first and foremost concern. And wardrobe is the most serious external environment that we have. So, if you get me into a closet, I'm not like, if you haven't worn it for a year, throw it out. I'm like, why have you not worn this? Or girlfriend, you shouldn't be wearing that. Right. So the style thing really works naturally for me because I'm an artistic, creative type of entrepreneur, but also because I'm an entrepreneur, I love working with other entrepreneurs and helping them remove the blocks that are making them stuck. I find that oftentimes we lose our mojo because we've created duplicated systems in the background of our business. For starters, I always talk about squirrels. And did you know that squirrels lose 40% of the nuts that they bury?
I am not surprised.
Well,
Times I bought that glue stick that I needed when I needed it.
yes, baby. And where is that glue stick? I know I own 15 of them, right? But where
No
are
idea.
they?
None. Okay, here. This is going to be a live show and tell. This is my dollar store eyeglasses. These are all readers. It's an entire drawer because when I finally organized my office, we found that I had 500 pairs.
I love it. And you did organizing 101, like with like. They're all in that one box.
But that's all that's in there is the cases that I never use, by the way, I should throw away, and all of the readers that came from the dollar store of all the different colors, because from a fashion standpoint, I'm all jewel tones today. My jewel tone glasses, sweater, and things.
Nice.
Very fashionable.
Here's the thing. As entrepreneurs, we're squirrel chasers because that's kind of part and parcel of who we are. We're explorers. And so we'll have one contact management system here, another here. We'll have some on our phone, some other places, and none of them are together. And so that's just one example of a half-baked system. Or maybe we started using one funnel and then started another funnel from another, and they're all fighting against each other in the background. Then what happens? We go into overwhelm, and then we're stressed out, freaked out, tired, exhausted, and we're not making money. And the most important thing for me is we've lost our mojo. We've lost our whole passion of why we're even in business to begin with, because our business is fighting against us. So that's my new passion, is really helping my entrepreneurial clients get this foundation underneath their business that's going to support them so they can do what they love to do, which is why they started their company. And it's organizing, doing like with like, just like you put your glasses all in one place. Papers are a big, huge thing. Oh my gosh, everybody's buried in papers, and they have paper piles everywhere, and they grow magically. I don't know if you know this, but piles will grow magically while you're not even there.
They're attracted to flat surfaces in my home. Anything that's a flat surface tends to find things, and a lot of those things tend to be paper that have to be dealt with, or actually some of it doesn't have to be dealt with. It just needs to be thrown away. And so in that regards, it needs to be dealt with. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of I work with paper flow a lot, and paper piles a lot, eliminating them, because they, especially as women entrepreneurs, piles will silently scream at us from afar. Like, we could be on a phone having a great conversation. We look over and there's a pile, and we start thinking, what's in that pile? What is that? Where that thing is that I need, right? And then you lose you're not present with the phone. You're thinking about the pile over there because it silently screams at us. And when you leave the room, you come back, there'll be more. It's magic. Piles magically manifest themselves. So the idea is, how do we get those papers gone? How do we eliminate the piles? And any pile. Okay, let's get real here. Any pile in your life, Jessica, is there for one of three reasons. You ready?
Okay.
Do you have any idea why they're there?
No. I don't.
Procrastination. You know what you need to do with it, but you didn't. Avoidance, right? You just threw it in a bag and threw it in a closet. Okay. Or indecision. You have no idea what to do with it, so you threw it in a pile. So that's why piles happen. It's one of those three things. So if you can nip that habit in the bud, where you're not going to procrastinate, you're going to make a quick decision, and you're not going to avoid it, then you can after you get to that, what I call the zero space, with clean open space, everything has a home with a yard around it, then you can maintain it, and you can stop doing the procrastinating, avoiding, and you're no longer indecisive, because you know where things are supposed to be, right?
Yeah, that is huge. That is definitely huge. And you have some events coming up to help people through this process.
Yes, it's called the Get It Gone Formula.
Get
And
it gone. Is that what you said?
get
Get
it
it
gone.
gone.
Get it gone.
Get it
Because
gone.
because as a paper trafficking specialist, that's my, one of my titles is that I want papers to get gone. So the idea is you want a place for the papers to land when they hit your life, right? And that's not the mailbox, that's inside your house somewhere, right? Then you want a place for the papers to live while you need them, that you be able to find them quickly within 30 seconds. You need a living space where you can find what you need and get it. And then the most important thing that no one teaches besides this system, in my opinion, is get it gone. How are you going to get rid of it? How do you decide when it's time, when it's past its due, when you don't need it any longer, when there's going to be no ramifications for throwing it away? You're not going to forget, lose something that was vitally important. So that's why it's called the Get It Gone formula. So what happens, it's this a webinar that I'm giving on October 8th. And we'll put the link in. But what happens with this is it's a workshop that people will go into if they decide that they really want to if they're serious and want to get their papers gone. 80% of their papers leave their life, and the rest that are left are in a system where they can find anything within 30 seconds. So it's the final answer to getting rid of your piles, getting rid of the overwhelm, getting rid of the mountains of indecision and avoidance and procrastination that you've been putting off for probably your whole life. Because guess what? No one teaches us what to do with paper. It just comes into our life. 6 days a week, it comes into our life. Right? That's for just for the main man.
And if you think about it, Get It Gone is GIG. So it's jig. So you could get to dance a jig at the end when you get all your paper gone.
I love it. I love it.
There's much more space for the jig dancing to happen too.
Yeah. And you're not tripping over piles that might be laying around, dozens of magazines that you thought you were going to read or things like that.
That's right. So, and the other thing that's really cool when you focus on one thing, the power of focus, and you work on the paper situation and you get that under control, suddenly it's contagious. Then you decide to reorganize your pantry or thin out the socks, so paper multiplies and socks disappear. So
oh yes, they do.
Socks run away and hide. Paper multiplies when you're not looking.
Yeah, in fact, any kind of pile will do that too. Anything that's piled. That's why if you've ever worked with a professional organizer, we're always saying go vertical, because we know that horizontal doesn't work. You have one shirt and one sock on the floor. You will come back in and there will be more piled there because it just attracts. It's a like with like, it's the law of the universe, right? The attraction principle.
That's exactly right. So is there anything else about clients that come to you or processes you help solve in your business that we should talk about before we move on?
Well, a lot of my clients need to have a hard time getting a handle on their time. Like they don't realize how much time takes for certain tasks. And so they don't plan in advance. Even if they plan in advance, it kind of goes askew because they haven't gotten real about how much time things take. So the average entrepreneur, back to documents, they waste 4 hours a week trying to find missing documents. And they think that they're going to do a project, but 4 hours is gone because they can't find what they needed to do that project. And that's a month a year. Yeah. So management is a really critical skill that I work with a lot of my clients on. One of my clients, I just saw her the other day, and she's really fantastic. She owns a bunch of properties, and she's also actually, ironically, a color stylist and an image consultant. And she called me in to help her with her time. Well, when we got down to it, it ends up that her clients were sucking up all of her time, and she didn't really have time for herself. And she really desperately wanted to have Saturdays off for brunch with her girlfriends. So we worked on her time management calendar. We kind of parceled in, this is property management. This is when you're going to see these clients. And for the clients that have to have a Saturday, let's open up one Saturday a month where, you are going to work for those stragglers. And I saw her recently and she goes, you know what? I don't see any clients ever again on Saturday. I just said, forget about it. And they've all accommodated me. And so now she has every weekend off without guilt. See, that's the important thing. As entrepreneurs, we go into the guilt thing if we don't have things set up and we're at the women call. Oh, I really need to help this person. I need to help this person. I mean, I know you're listening out there. You probably are feeling this, right? Yeah. You feel like, I really dropped the ball on Sally. She really needed me to see. And then we go into guilt, and then we get exhausted and burn out, and we don't give Sally our full attention anyhow. So that's just one example of a time management client that she's loving life now. She goes to brunch 2 Saturdays a week, or 2 Saturdays a month now, with separate groups of girlfriends. And she does her brunch thing because that's what brings her joy, and she just loves it.
I haven't done brunch in so many years, and I just went last Sunday. A girlfriend and I made plans, and but I'm very good about giving and scheduling myself time. And one of the things I find that I give myself that I hear other people don't is I have on my calendar 2 things. I have time to plan. So actual scheduled time to plan. People sit down and put things on their calendar to do and to achieve and to work on, but they forget right now, currently, I've got pockets of time. I'm working on my business plan to the end of the year. And so I just, and then sometimes I'll find that I've been gifted back an hour, and I'll say, oh, and then I'll sit down and I'll plan and I'll work on that. I also take time for the power of storytelling and figuring out how to incorporate that into our messaging, into our branding, into our business, work on that. I also attend a weekly book club that's for improving myself. And I also have daily and weekly accountability partners for different things in my lives. So I actually have time scheduled for accountability and reviewing my success and tracking that success and the data for that and all the things. So, yeah,
so good. That's why you're so
there's a lot of things I still need to do, but I'm doing some things.
Yeah, but you're doing most of your things better because you've already thought in advance. I mean, that's another thing. Plan your day before it plans you. Plan your week before it plans you. And for big projects, how long do you give yourself to plan? Like, do you do like an hour, or what do you do?
Well, I tend to take 2 to 4 hours for planning because a lot of it needs to be meditation. I need space. I need to walk away from it for a few minutes. Then I need to go back and review what I put down. I need, we really need time to think about things. And the other thing I'm scheduling is, for example, I've listened to this one audiobook 3 to 5 times now. And I'm listening to it at the max speed at this point because I'm also a speed listener. I've kind of trained myself to do that. And I've also gotten the written book. And so now I'm scheduling time to go through the book, actually answer all the questions, do all the exercises, and apply what I'm learning. And so I try to keep myself limited to a certain number of books a year so that then I can, especially if I feel like they've made an impact and they mean something to me, so that I can actually apply what I'm learning in the book, because you can be a book junkie and then just go to the next and the next and the next. But if you're not applying the concepts to your actual life that are appropriate to you, then the transformation is going to be what's missing. The life-changing event is going to be what's missing.
Oh, I love that you do 2 to 4 hours for planning. I often tell my clients to do 4 hours for their big project. If they put the same 4-hour block at the same day, same time, same bat channel once a week toward their big project, that's 16 hours to 20 hours a month that they're going to actually do the big project, like write the book or do the script or whatever it is, right? And planning takes that amount of time as well. I'm totally with you on that.
It does. And people forget that piece in their schedule. So, and it's the same with health success, right? So I'm at a standing desk right now. I have a walking pad that's next to me that I'm typically walking if I'm not doing an interview, right? And so I try to walk 4 to 6 hours, but I had to have a plan for that. Like you have to plan, what are your meals going to be? You have to plan when can you fit in what you're already doing, exercise and time, right? And so planning, I think, is a big part of success in general.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You got to plan your day before it plans you, or it will.
It does. It will take over. And the power of the word no. I'm sorry, I can't do that, even when you want to, and finding a way to have peace with that, and finding other ways to help people when you can't drop everything and help them immediately. And then that's also the gift of being an entrepreneur. A lot of times I had a time where I spent 3 weeks in North Carolina at an oceanfront house because my friend called and said, "Hey, I have one available. Come stay." And I did because I could. I have my life set up that way that I can do that kind of thing. If I had someone call me now who said, they needed me, I could have my assistants reschedule my meetings and go be there for that person, And so I think it's also about how we choose to live. So
it is a choice, and it's a premeditated choice, actually. Like you said, you've set up the systems in advance so that you can do that kind of thing. And that's why we're all entrepreneurs. And that's what really breaks my heart when, I see a client, like one of my clients that, she really was just exhausted and bedridden, and she was working 60 hours a week, and she didn't have any control at all of her own calendar because she let her clients control her calendar. And she didn't have things parceled out, and she was exhausted. And that's the type of thing, if you it's all your success is always premeditated, let's face it. You're not just gonna, unless maybe a whim, you're gonna fall into some little thing. Like at the beginning of my career, I fell into Good Morning America. They found me, right? And here's the thing, they said, are you ready? Can you do it right now? And I said, oh no. And then I said, oh yes. So that's another thing.
Oh yes is the answer. And I actually have another great example. And reach out to me if you need this, but I'm collaborating with a brilliant grant expert, and there's a grant coming up August 15th for a few people I know that would be perfect at 2.6 million. And if they don't have their paperwork and all the things they're going to need for this grant writer to pull this together in a short window, no matter what her expertise is, they're going to miss out on that. So you could potentially, your piles of money can actually be robbing you millions of dollars, because there's a lot of for-profit business grant money out there for what people are up to in the world. And that takes a bit of organization and having your numbers and your documents in order and accessible and findable, if that's a word, and so that you can get them to the grant experts so that they can help you get the award of $1 million or more, or even 25,000 would be helpful with marketing and resources and hiring virtual staff and just the other things that are needed to run your business smoothly so that you can have your life as well. So
you have to be able to find those documents and know where they are, for sure.
Yeah, and for business loans as well, right? You got to be able to have everything in order and the right experts on your side and the right professionals and all those things. So give us a tip. Give everybody watching a tip out there that they could do that would make life better.
Well, look at your area where you work. This is the easy thing. Wherever you work, look at your desktop. You want 60% of it open for business. You need 60% of your desk cleared, right? If you have things scattered all over, I know a lot of you like their tchotchkes and your pretties, and you get snacks, you got lips, you got hairbrushes, you got all this stuff that has nothing really to do with work. Have 60% of your desktop cleared. Get rid of the piles, put them someplace else temporarily so that you can think clearly. Because if you have a cluttered space, you have a cluttered mind. If you have a cluttered mind, you can't solve problems. And being an entrepreneur is problem solving over and over and over again, right? How am I best going to get to blah, right? How does this work? And so have a clear space. That would be the biggest piece of advice. Make sure that you always have a clear space where you work.
That's awesome. So clear the tops, clear the surfaces,
Yeah.
have some sea of empty where you are. It will probably stem some creativity for you. All right. Speaking of creativity and things that we love, we're going to move to one of my favorite parts of the show, which is sharing a cause that you care about. So if you're out there and listening, and I see that you are, and thank you, put in the comments the cause that you care about and hit the share button, because you just might inspire someone to give time, treasure, or talent, or do something kind for someone else out there. So please go ahead and put the cause you love and care about in the comments. And Kathi, share with us yours.
I love Kiva, Kia. I don't really know what it stands for. I probably should, but I've been giving to Kiva forever. So Kiva is a micro fund loaning, a loan for microfunds for small businesses around the world. So what's really fun about Kiva, it's just fun to invest because you can choose, like I like women in textiles. That's just one of my things. I like women who are either making clothing or selling clothing or have a shop. And I like to go to the third world countries and support them. But there are microphone loans all around the world, and you can choose your demographic, you can choose your country, you can choose male or female, you can choose industry, and it starts only with $25.
That's cool.
So you invest $25 and they pay you back, and you get emails saying, you know, Swahala from Sudan just paid you 28 cents towards your loan. And so they pay you back. So the funds come back to you, and then you reinvest again, and then you reinvest again, and you can up the ante, and you can, and you can see who's close to their brink. So it takes a lot to apply for this microloan, right? And again, they had their papers organized, they had their documents organized, they were able to go for the loan, but they only have a limited amount of time to raise the money. So you can see who's short and who's not. When they're, you know, one lady is looking for $1,500, she has $1,250, she's $250 away, and it ends at midnight. So you can fund that if you want. Also with Kiva, you can join, there's I'm in multiple groups where we will match funds. So if we see someone getting really close, we'll match funds, and then it will work. So it's fun. It's just called Kiva, kiva.org. It's just a fun way to invest, a fun way to help other entrepreneurs that need it. And you can really see the effects coming back around at you and to you.
I love that. I love that. So what about a book that inspired your personal life or helped you grow your business?
Gosh, I'm an avid reader. I'm on the spiritual quest. I have been my whole life. This one book that I found, it's this thing called You. And it's by Ernest Holmes. And I've reread it probably 3 times just this year. And it's all about who we really are, how we are all connected, how we all just spirit, how, you know, everything's really the same in different forms. And it really empowers me to know who I am. And it's called this thing called You.
That's wonderful. Now tell us about all of your books.
Okay. I've written 3 so far, and I've co-authored several others. My very first book was called How to Master Your Muck. Add space to your life, get organized, live your purpose. It was written specifically for small entrepreneurs, people who are starting businesses, because each chapter is about a different aspect of business. Paper flow, right? How to manage your paper piles and get rid of them. Contact management, calendar management, goal setting, all the stuff that you need to know as an entrepreneur to start a business. So that was book 1. My second book was around home organizing, and it's called Home Organization: The Smart Guide. Make room for yourself in your home. And it's all about how to clear all the different areas within your home so that you can thrive. Because if you don't have space, you can't thrive, right? So you need open space, you need clear way so that you can think and thrive and expand. And then my most recent book is Organizing with Tetris. And I was actually paid to write that with Tetris, the game company. So we just combine organizing techniques with Tetris. It's really kind of fun. It's really an interesting thing. It came out right after January, but what they really did some cool artwork with organization and with Tetris. It's just a beautiful, beautiful book. And I was blessed to be paid to write it. So that came out December 26th of last year.
Awesome. Well, if you're an author out there, put your books in the comments, share away so that we can feature you and promote you to the world as well. And if you're an industry expert and you're thinking, wait, I should be on the show, reach out. My team will let you know how to do that. And now, before we say goodbye, it's been so great having you on the show, Kathi. I've so enjoyed interviewing you.
It's fun. I'm so impressed by you, Jessica. You get so much done, and it's proof in the pudding what you said earlier about how you plan everything and have it all set for it out. Awesome.
So we're on our way out, everyone. But before we go, we're going to ask Kathi to share a final thought, a piece of information or inspiration as we sign off today.
It's kind of funny, Jessica. You alluded to it earlier. Here's my thing. I know that one small, insignificant change has a ripple effect on all the other areas of your life. Mm-hmm. So don't feel not empowered. Don't feel disempowered. Feel empowered. Do one small little shift, and it'll ripple into other places in your life. And you'll see it grow and grow and grow. And you can do something, and someone else will say, oh, maybe I'll do that too. It's a ripple effect. And that's what organizing is. It is a ripple effect. It's a vacuum that you create that creates more space for other things to happen.
That's wonderful. And thank you again so much for being on the show. So until next time, everybody, I'm Jessica Koch. This is Profound Professionals, the show that brings you global industry experts to improve your personal life and grow your business. Until next time, everyone, be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. Bye, everybody.
Bye.